Hello, and once again, we are live to the Modern Mystery School UK EU podcast and YouTube channel. And today we are joined by the lovely Christine. Christine, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm so happy to be on here to be able to share a little bit of my experience with everyone.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I was really excited to hear your story because you come from a very science background, that very, logical mind. So how did you end up being a ritual master? Because ritual master path is not really much talked about. There's not really like an outline of, what you do or how you learn or anything like that. So what made you want to be a ritual master?
It was really interesting because I went to Healers Academy and I had such a paradigm shifting experience at Healers and just so much heart energy, so much love, and it was just beautiful. And I came back from that, and one of the things that kind of struck me was that these tools actually are doing something and they actually work. And I was, working with my rituals. You receive more rituals when you go to Ritual Master. And so I was working with my rituals and I was seeing shifts and differences on a very rapid scale. And, getting to that point was like, I wanted more, like after the Healers Academy, it was like, I wanted more. And it wasn't like a logical choice. Like it's such an interesting difference because I was trained in the scientific mindset and to use logic, to use reason, and it wasn't logical. It wasn't reasonable. It was this pull like inside of me that was just, I have to get there. And it was like, I saw this little like star, this light at the end of the tunnel, and it was Ritual Master for me. And I didn't know why. I knew that's where I was going and that's where I was heading. And I had to get there. And every single part of me needed, it was craving it. And going through the experience of it was just really amazing. I have so much gratitude for this path. My life before all of this was actually very like, mundane, boring. I'd say it's almost like gray. And going into Ritual Master, colors started to come into my life and vibrancy started to come into my life. And the boxes that I had placed myself in that scientific paradigm of this is what reality is, started to break open. And they started to shift, like I said, very quickly. And I saw the world from a new perspective, and it was exciting. And it's still exciting, and it gets more exciting. So I continue this journey because there's no end to this. And there's always like, I went into science. I think part of it was I wanted to do good in the world, but I also craved knowledge. And so those two things, it was like, what can I do to bring the most amount of good into the world, but also receive knowledge? And I've found that this path allows me to have both of those things, but on such a bigger scale than what I originally imagined for myself. And the longer I'm on this, the more I see like, I don't really know anything. It's amazing. Like, I love that feeling of like, oh, you know what? I don't really know anything. It's fine. I don't have to hold all the knowledge in my head. I don't have to have, I don't have to be the expert of everything. I just have to have my experience. And there's freedom in that.
I love that. That's really beautiful. Having that freedom. I also feel like that too. There was a huge amount of freedom. And you mentioned how you wanted more of this and you took those opportunities, but did you have to overcome any obstacles to make this happen? Was there resistance there? Was it easy? How was that for you?
Not easy. There was a lot of resistance that came up. I had physical issues before I came to Ritual Master, and they've dissolved over time. Like using the tools has really helped me to work through those issues. And also recognizing that, we have a tendency to sabotage ourselves in really subtle ways. And it's almost like we want to, like, I've noticed this in myself becoming a ritual master, becoming more aware of my patterns and my thought processes, it's like I'm trying to go to a certain goal and I'll stick these little like balms in my subconscious mind to like slow myself down just so that something that could have been easy suddenly becomes difficult. And I've had some really difficult experiences going through the ritual master program, like attending classes, just because like I put these little subconscious like obstacles in my way. But it's also fun because it's challenging. And in that challenge, I get to learn about myself and what I'm actually capable of, which is a lot greater than what I actually thought I was capable of. And so, it's kind of fun. It's like, yeah, it's difficult. It's challenging. There's always something coming up. There's inner resistance of like, oh, I don't really want to change. I kind of like things how they are right now. And like, I feel stable at this moment. Like, let's not change anything. But then once you go through that change, that process, it's like, you go to the gym, you get the sore muscles, but then on the other side, like everything is so much better and you're capable of even greater things. So, yeah, lots of challenges.
I like that, because I know a lot of people out there settle for that comfort and settle for that mediocre life, believing that that is where happiness and joy is. And and often when something is hard, they say, oh, it's not meant to be. And so what strikes me with all these interviews of very successful people, everybody has commented, yes, it is hard, but that's how we grow. And again, you mentioned the going to the gym, building the muscle. It's exactly the same. So I think it's really important to, as you've pointed out, how much fun it can be to overcome the obstacles and to get to the side and really have grown. So that's amazing. How has Ritual Master affected your day-to-day life? Or has it? Has it enabled you to do certain things that you couldn't do before? Or, is there anything that you've noticed?
Yeah, my life has changed so much. Before my life was, like I said, it was like very dull gray. Like it was just, you do the same routine day in and day out. Nothing really changed. Maybe the weekends, there might be something a little bit different, but a lot of it was like recovering, catching up. With Ritual Master, my life is different every single day. Which is really fun and exciting. There was a point where I actually found change to be like stressful. And I had like anxiety in the past over it. And now it's like, it's become fun. It's become enjoyable. And one of the things I realized was that where I was stressed before was because I was trying to be perfectionist in that scientific box, and letting go of that and just being like, this is my plan for the day. If something happens and my day has to shift, we can work with that. One of the biggest challenges I had, that these tools have helped me with, was my passport was going to expire. And I didn't know it because it was 6 months out and I wasn't aware that it has to be like with over 6 months. Yes. And I went to the airport and they wouldn't let me on the airplane. And I remember I panicked initially and I was like, okay, but then I remembered that we always have a choice. We always have a choice. And so I was like, well, what is my choice? Do I have any choice in this situation at all? Or do I have to surrender to this? And I realized I did have a choice. I could go down to the passport office and wait for an appointment to become available. And there may or may not be one that happened. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. That's my choice. It worked out and I actually made it like with just a few hours delay. It was fine. So our tools like open up possibilities that are beyond what we would have, like before, if I was in that situation, I would have just shut down and been like, I'm done. But like working with these tools, working with this energy, like I can do hard things. It's fine. If I need to adjust myself, it's fine. Such a great blessing.
Yeah, I love that. That's a really good example of how magic, comes into our life and we can turn something into redirect it into a positive situation, that nothing is impossible. You went in with that mindset, and that just sums up Ritual Master. It's like, okay, this is happening. Now, how do I fix it? Or how do I redirect it? Or how do I get around this obstacle or over this obstacle? How do I do it? And you did it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Our time has whizzed by. Can you believe? It's just gone so quickly. And I really appreciate you sharing your experience. And hopefully you'll come back on the show and share some more of your experiences with other classes and things that you've done over the years.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this, and I hope to come back on later on as well.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Take care.
Bye.